Joining us now is former Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Chad Wolf, who served during President Trump's first term for a little more than a year. He is now the Homeland Security and Immigration Chair for the America First Policy Institute. Chad, thank you for joining us here on Prime. You've called President Trump's decision to send border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota a stroke of genius. How will things look different with Homan there?
Well, I mean, Tom's got a unique set of skills. He's an operational individual. He's got 30 years both in Border Patrol and ICE. I think most importantly, though, he hasn't really been involved in Minneapolis and Minnesota over the previous 3 weeks. So he's got a fresh set of eyes, and he's engaging both the mayor and the governor and trying to find a solution, trying to find a compromise to lower the temperature, the chaos and the violence that we see there in Minneapolis. So I'm very hopeful that he is going to get the job done.
You were once the acting secretary of DHS. Secretary Noem is now in charge, but there are calls for her to step down. Do you think she is the right person for the job?
Well, I've been asked this question a lot. Again, I would have probably played it a little differently as far as characterizing as she did shortly after the events over the last several weeks. It's important in any type of officer-involved shooting that you let the investigation unfold and play out. And so I would have waited until that investigation to get to all the facts before I started commenting.
Do you trust her going forward?
Well, I think most importantly, the president has made clear that he does moving forward. But I think at the same time, I think the president was unhappy with what was unfolding in Minneapolis. And that's why, as you indicated, he sent Tom Homan in as well.
So given the seemingly aggressive actions we've seen during recent ICE enforcement operations in Minnesota, is there anything that you would do differently?
Well, I would certainly try to get the cooperation of the state and locals. I think Minneapolis is the outlier. It's not how 98% of the other jurisdictions within the country where ICE operates unfolds, right? It unfolds differently in Minneapolis because of sanctuary city policies, as well as local and state officials being very aggressive in calling DHS, not a law enforcement entity. We need to go to war with ICE. And I think that sends a signal to activists and to others there to impede in ICE operations. And anytime you impede in a law enforcement operation, you have the potential for very bad things to happen.
You've called for the American people to support the men and women of ICE after the 2 deadly shootings in Minnesota and the protests that we've seen after. How can trust be restored?
Well, we can let them do their job. Well, first of all, I think you need a full investigation. You need accountability and transparency, and President Trump has called for that as well. So let's let the investigation unfold. It's not going to happen overnight. These things do take time. There's a lot to unpack and unfold here. I think you reported on it earlier. There's some new video in just today of Alex, assaulting federal officials. So you have to take that into account. I'm not saying that the shooting was justified, but that's going to be part of the investigation. So I think it's really important to let that play out. Have the findings of the investigation made transparent and obviously public, and take the accordingly actions after that. But I think also most importantly is let's let ICE do their job and do that in coordination with the city, with local police. Let's let them go into the jail setting and do their job instead of having them to take it to the streets, which again is unlike what they do in most other jurisdictions.
Chad Wolf, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.